Would the offender please give his full name and the public corrections ID?
On it, 440860.
Okay, the mic just came on, so would you repeat your full name and your ID?
Name is Daniel F Bonnet, 440860.
Good morning, Mr. Bonnet. How are you?
Good morning. I'm okay. I'm just nervous.
Okay, sit back, relax, and we're gonna have a conversation, okay?
Okay.
Good. My name is Alvin Roche, Mr. Bonnet. To my left is Ms. Bonnet Jackson. To my right is Mr. Pete Freeman. We'll compose your parole panel this morning. Let me explain the process to you. I will enter some information into the record to verify that information. Once that information is verified, then I'll let Warden Amber have remarks, concerns, or comments. And then we'll allow two of your supporters to make statements. You have an attorney present, Mr. Richard Allen Spears. Mr. Spears, would you unmute and introduce yourself for the record?
Yes, sir. My name is Richard Spears from New Iberia. I represent Mr. Daniel Bonnet in this case.
Okay, Mr. Spears, would you like to make an opening statement, or would you like to make your presentation at the end of the hearing?
At the end, please.
Okay, right. Then we have Miss Regina and Hinte, and that's a friend, will not be speaking. We have a Mr. Trent, a friend that will, well, it's Miss Trent, is that correct?
Miss Brent.
Okay, and would you please give your name for the record?
My name is Gwenzy Brent.
Okay, and you will make a statement at the appropriate time.
Yes, if I'm available to speak, if not, Miss Tiante will be the family spokesman.
Thank you. And then we have his father, and his father will not be speaking, but his father is present on Zoom, okay? And the young lady at Louisiana State Penitentiary, would you please introduce yourself?
My name is Chandrika Holmes.
Okay, and your relationships to the offender?
Fiance.
Okay, fine. And you will not be speaking, is that correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
You will not be speaking?
If necessary, I can.
Okay, but you're not listed as a speaker.
You're not listening.
I'm not listening?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
As all those statements are made, we'll ask you before we vote to make a brief statement why you should be released, and then we'll turn it over to Attorney Spears. Okay, do you understand the process?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Bonte, you are a second felony offender. Your offenses are armed robbery, use of a firearm with an additional penalty, and you were billed as an habitual offender. You were sentenced on July 16, 2004. You received a 65-year sentence for the armed robbery and a 5-year sentence for the additional penalty for having a firearm. Those two sentences were running consecutively and for a total sentence of 70 years. Is that correct?
It is correct.
Your parole date is coming up. It's August 20th, 2023. your adjusted good time date is August 14th, 2072, and your full-term date is August 18th, 2073. Is all that information correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. In your case, it's been assigned to me, Mr. Bonnet. So first of all, tell us what your current job is at Louisiana State Penitentiary.
Right now, I work at a prison enterprise at a silk screen shop. I've been there for 10 years and 3 months now.
Okay, so you've had the same job consecutively for the last 10 years and 3 months.
Yes, sir.
What was your job assignment before the silk screen shop?
I worked at a 915 warehouse, dry goods warehouse.
Another very important position, a very trustworthy position. How long did you work at the warehouse?
From 2005 till about 2009. In
So 4 or 5
between,
years.
about more than 5 years. I would go back and forth after I'd leave to go to school, take some trades, and I'd go back. So
Okay. So it was a long-term job assignment.
yes, those were the only 2 jobs that I had my entire span here.
Are you a trustee?
Yes, sir. Minimum B class
And how long have you been?
for about years, about 8.5, 9 years now.
Okay. So tell me about the programs that you've completed in your 19 and a half years of incarceration.
Well, I've taken up anger management, substance abuse, 100 hours, thinking for a change. I've been involved in right now I'm taking victim awareness, just started that. And as I further educated myself, I have 2 trades, one in carpentry and one in graphic design that I've acquired here too.
Do you have a high school diploma or a GED?
Yes, I'm a high school graduate.
And which high school did you graduate from?
Oh, I'm from the Virgin Islands, St. Croix Central High School. I'm from St. Croix.
I saw that in the record. Let's talk about your educational advancements since you've been. I understand you have vocational skills while incarcerated, but have you had any chance to advance your education while you're incarcerated?
Well, yes, by acquiring those trades, especially in carpentry, I use that all the time as I'm in the wood shop and I make furniture to sell at the Angola rodeo. So I've been using that the entire time that I've here. About 10 years now, at least.
Okay, great. Tell us about your transition plan if and when you're released.
Well, upon my release, I plan on working for Carter's Construction, doing carpentry, and I plan on joining a church at Belrose, where I'll be residing at, and hopefully get involved with some of their youth outreach ministry, and join some AA meetings and attend some of those as well. Just working hard,
So let's talk about the offense. Okay, now, in my reading of the record, I found that you had a co-defendant. Is that correct?
That is right, Mr. Donald Nicholas.
Yeah. Now, what did you and Mr. Nicholson do?
Well, on the morning of August 20th, 2003, I robbed Mr. Keith Eber at gunpoint while he was on his way to make a money deposit at a bank. One of the worst decisions of my life. He was just trying to do his job, and I went up to him with a gun and demanded the money, and got the money, jumped back in the car, and sped away. I was arrested hours later.
Was the victim harmed in any way?
No, I never touched him. He just dropped the bag. I grabbed it and went the opposite direction. I know that it's physically I never harmed him, but I know that I probably traumatized him, and I regret that. I know that he probably still goes through that from the experience. So I hope that he can learn to heal from that because I caused that. I know that.
I want to inform you that we contacted the victim, and the victim stated that he was aware that you were up for early release, but he had no comment. He didn't make one comment one way or the other. He just said he did not want to comment on the proceedings. Now, at the time you were arrested, in between the time you were convicted, were you offered a plea deal by the district attorney's office?
Yes, I was offered a 50-year plea bargain.
You were offered a 50-year plea bargain.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and Mr. Nicholson was offered a 15-year plea deal. Why the drastic differences in the two deals?
Well, I later found out it was because he agreed to work with the state to help testify against me. So he was given a lesser plea because of it.
Okay. And you found that out after your trial?
Before the process of it, right before.
So what was your rationale for going to trial?
I had none. I mean, I didn't have any other plea deal offered to me that was reasonable in my opinion at the time, and my rationale at the time was just to take my chances at trial.
So going back 19 and a half years, the first person that took the deal got the better deal.
Yes, I've definitely taken the deal. I was guilty. There was no getting around it. I did what I did. I even confessed immediately after my arrest for it. So there's no getting around it.
So let's talk about drugs and alcohol. Have you ever abused illegal drugs?
Yes, I use marijuana a lot, almost every day prior to my arrest, and that was one of my vices.
Anything stronger than marijuana?
No, sir.
Never cocaine, never heroin, never meth?
No, sir. I've always been scared of those.
Have you ever been written up since incarceration for intoxication?
No, sir.
Review some of these substance abuse programs or treatments that you've had since you've been incarcerated.
Well, in substance abuse, I've learned that I was powerless over my addiction and that I needed a higher power than myself to help win me from it. So I seek God, and He helped me to do an inventory of myself and to learn that what my triggers were and what to avoid, and He helped lead me through that. And I've been clean ever since my incarceration. I haven't used drugs since I've been here. Did away with that.
You telling me that you haven't smoked marijuana in 20 years?
Yes. When I was arrested, I gave my life to God immediately, and He began working in me to change that you see now.
How long did you use marijuana prior to your arrest?
Maybe at a span of about 4 years.
So are you a drug addict?
I think I'm a recovering drug addict that have overcome it right now, thanks to God's help.
But you are a drug addict.
Yes, sir.
And how long will you be a drug addict?
All my life. But
So you have to treat it as a disease, and you have to be vigilant and attend meetings, whether it be Celebrate Recovery or NAAA, to
Yes, sir.
help you so stressful, because life is stressful. You're gonna have situations that's gonna bring you to the brink of doing something that you're not supposed to do. That's when you attend a meeting. That's when you call your sponsor. I just want to make sure you realize that you have a lifelong issue with marijuana.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then we go over your transition plan, where you're gonna live, and where you're gonna work.
Yeah, I'll be living in Belrose. I have submitted an address for you, and I'll be working for Carter's Construction, and they're also in Belrose doing carpentry work.
And that employment has been confirmed.
Yes, sir.
Board Nambo,
Yes, sir.
do you have any comments, remarks, or concerns?
No concerns at all. I think that Mr. Bonet will be a good citizen once he's released from here. He'll be responsible. He's been a trustee here, and he only had one DB report since he's been here, and that was in on May 12th, 2014 for Rule 5, which is aggravated disobedience. Tiger is low, so I think he's ready to be released.
Thank you, Board Nambo.
Welcome, Mr. Rocha.
Mr. Bonet, you have done very well in 19 years of incarceration. And I have no further questions. Ms. Jackson?
No questions.
Mr. Brandon?
I have one question, Mr. Bonnet. What were your triggers? What did you find out were your triggers? You also drank, right? I mean, I see where it says you were intoxicated at the time you committed this offense.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what are your triggers?
Stressful situations, especially when it is around finances. You know, when I'm struggling to make ends meet, and I tend to look to substance to help with that. It never does. It makes it worse, actually. So.
Okay, no further.
Thank you. At this time, we'd like Ms. Wendy Brett to open her mic, and Ms. Brett, would you give us your statement?
Yes, my name is Gwency Brent. I am the aunt of Danny's children. Danny, hello?
Yes?
Danny has been very instrumental prior to his incarceration with my family. His dedication to my grandmother that he cared for as a caregiver, which shows his compassion of a woman that was at least 100 years old, that he took to the doctor, that he pampered her, dressing her, being there for her day in and day out. Since his incarceration, as a transition specialist, I feel that he has shown growth. he has partaked in those things that has availed it in the facility that he is in. I feel that he has been very remorseful for the crime that was committed. He has given his life to God. And for those reasons, I feel that he is ready to re-enter the world of work and be a paying citizen and to get on with his life at the age that he is presently. And that concludes my statement for Danny. I
Thank you,
love
Mrs.
him very much. I love him very much. And I would like to also go on record and say that almost as a son.
Thank you, Ms. Quincy. Ms. Quincy, are you with the state of
Yes.
Louisiana? Are you with the state of Louisiana as a transitional specialist?
I was at one time with the state of Louisiana. Presently, I am a retired advocate of transition persons in the state of Louisiana, qualified and certified, but retired presently.
Congratulations. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Now we hear from his fiance at Louisiana State Penitentiary.
I just want to say over the years, Daniel has been a major influence in my life. I met him during a time where I was going through a lot of things myself, and he's been an inspiration to me in spite of his situation. Not only does Daniel have the support of my family, but as well as his family in his transition, I'm prepared to support him mentally, financially, and spiritually on this new journey, and just ready to start a life, pick up the pieces, and just help him to get where he needs to be.
Thank you, ma'am. Would you please give us your name for the record?
Chandrika Holmes.
Thank you, Ms. Holmes. Mr. Barker, it's time for you to give a closing statement.
Okay. First off, I'd like to thank this honorable board for giving me the opportunity to present myself before you today. To the primary victim of this crime, Mr. Keith Abel, I offer my deepest apologies. And to all the secondary and tertiary victims that were negatively impacted by my actions, I sincerely apologize to you as well. This robbery should have never happened. I'm ashamed of what I did. Not a day goes by that I don't regret it. I pray that Mr. Abel, his family, and our community have somehow managed to heal from the trauma that I caused. None of this was deserving on their part, and I hope that Mr. Abel can one day learn to forgive me. From day one of my arrest, I made a conscious decision to change for the better. I began by establishing a relationship with God, focusing my energy on Him. From there, He started highlighting the areas of my life where I needed to mature in. This board was to examine the activities I involved myself in along the span of my incarceration. It will reveal to you a pattern of growth. I set out to further educate myself, take full advantage of the rehabilitation and self-help courses offered here, and maintain obedience to the rules of this institution to ultimately achieve one goal: to discipline myself in a way that I would never create another victim in life again, whether it be in here or in society. This mission is a continuous one fueled by my desire to help deter others from turning to crime as a solution to their problems in life, beginning with my own children and grandchildren, to possibly lead by example as a hardworking, tax-paying, law-abiding citizen. Speaking to anyone who will listen, warning them of the poor decisions that drug and alcohol abuse leads to, which in the end can cost a lifetime of debt to pay. I want to give back to society I once took away from. And if given this chance, it would be my duty to perform every day. To my loved ones and friends, I know that I let you down and I'm sorry. Thank you for not giving up on me. I love you all. As the board ponders the decision before you, I'm simply asking for mercy. I'm asking for another chance at life beyond incarceration. Once again, Thank you for your time and consideration in this matter. God bless you all.
Mr. Barkis, well stated, well stated. Is the panel ready to vote? Oh, I'm sorry. One of the most important persons at the hearing, Attorney Spears. Attorney Spears, would you like to make a closing statement at the hearing?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Roach. I'll make it brief because almost everything that could be said has been said in favor of this gentleman. And he is a gentleman who lives with dignity in a very bad situation. But legally, I think that, and I'm not here to lecture any of the three of you about parole law, but I think that it is worth pointing out that the impetus of the governor, the impetus of legislation that has been passed has been to try to identify people like Mr. Bonnet who are actually deserving of being released. With respect to the length of his sentence, let me say this. First of all, he knows, but may not know as well as I do, that in his case, his lawyer at the time did not encourage him to take a plea agreement. I don't think that enough was done, so I would ask you not to take into account the fact that he went to trial. I don't think he really insisted on going to trial. I don't think that he was presented with any real alternatives by his attorney at the time. I will also say that the laws with respect to the habitual offender statute have changed somewhat, and the statute as it has been amended to include an actual reference to a case, State v. Dorothy, which encourages judges these days to even go below the guidelines on a habitual offender statute. Is my belief that that would have been applied at the time that Mr. Bonnet was sentenced. Beyond the legal part of it, I'll just say that I visited with Mr. Bonnet in Angola. I've been very impressed with the way he's treated by the staff. He's treated with respect in a way I don't often see, which tells me that he is highly thought of there, and his record bears that out. As I said, he's a gentleman, and as somebody who has kind of become a friend, I would be willing to bet anything that I have that he is going to more than give back to the community what he took away 20 years ago. I would hope that you will strongly consider, based on all the grounds you've heard today, granting his parole application.
Thank you, Attorney Spears. Now, is the panel ready to vote?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bonnet, your case was assigned to me, so I'm going to vote first. Your performance while incarcerated is commendable. You've gotten 2 additional vocational skills. You have a good disciplinary record. You have positive remarks by Warden Ambo. And I do understand the circumstances of your conviction, because we sort of, after we individually went over the notes and over the facts, we sort of wondered why a 70-year sentence. So based upon your performance, based upon your accomplishment, based upon your positive remarks, I'm going to grant your early release under the following conditions. You are to have a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. If you have to be out after 9 o'clock for legitimate reasons, work, church, or family event, you must notify your parole officer in advance. If you have to leave for work before 6 o'clock in the morning, just notify your parole officer that you need to be to work at 6 and you're late at 5:30 or even 5:15. I want you to do community service. You have a story to tell. Get with your parole officer, get with your pastor of your church, and I want you to talk to disadvantaged youth. The youth of the day is in trouble. And you have a story to tell. I want you to tell that story and try to lead them in the right direction. You're a young man, so I want you to maintain full-term employment until such time that you are eligible for retirement. So you have 3 conditions: curfew, community service, and I want you to maintain your employment. Good luck. Ms. Jackson?
And Ms. Bonnet, I enjoyed listening to your interview. You are a really good example of what rehabilitation looks like. You have an outstanding institutional record, an excellent disciplinary record. And so my vote today is to grant with the same conditions as Mr. Roche.
Thank you.
Mr. Freeman?
I also vote to grant for the same reason as my colleagues. Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Mr. Bonnet, you have received 3 votes to grant your request with the following conditions: a curfew from 9 to 6, you must maintain employment, and you have to talk to disadvantaged youth about going in the right direction at least 4 hours a month. You can do more, but at least 4 hours. Good luck and have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
And
That-
to the board, if I might
Uh,
state, I always appreciate the courtesy that you grant me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Attorney Spears. That concludes our business at Louisiana State Penitentiary for the day. Time is exactly 11 o'clock a.m. One and both staff, have a good day.
Thank you.
Wow. I really enjoyed that hearing, I gotta tell you. It was very refreshing. You gotta think it's it was like, yeah, they basically gave him a 50-year plea deal. And so he was like, why would that be a deal? 50-year sentence. Yeah, I'm going to go to trial. Why would a judge or a DA even do that? It's like, okay, we'll give you a deal. We'll give you 50 years. It's like you're not giving him a reason to take it, and it's only going to cost the taxpayer money. So it is strange that you get these long sentences. Seems pretty corrupt to me. But it's not the worst we've seen. Today we saw someone who got pretty much a life sentence for robbing from a couple of cars. So Louisiana, as we've known, as we've seen, their judiciary does not have a great reputation, to say the least. I do have the records of his different robberies that we can go through. Thanks to Richard for sharing it, of course. And, you know, they were armed, and that has a big effect on people. But no one was hurt, and he was given pretty much a life sentence. And it just doesn't add up when you see people getting 25 years for murder. I really enjoyed his attorney too. He was not an attorney that wanted to hear himself talk. He was an attorney that really thought out what he was going to say, understood the situation, and delivered excellently. That was impressive. His experience showed, that's for sure. It was interesting though. I thought Mr. Roche was kind of like leaning towards like, oh, his co-defendant took the plea deal first, so that's why he got a deal, and whoever was first would get a better deal. But I don't think that's what happened in that case. I'm not quite sure if it was that his co-defendant testified against him. Maybe it was, but that wasn't my takeaway. My takeaway was that they simply didn't offer him a good deal and said, whatever, let's just go to trial because 50 years feels like a lifetime. So here's the fact is that Keith Herbert managed a combination Cracker Barrel's church fried chicken store in Patterson, Louisiana. And the defendant was a former cook at the church fried chicken store, so he knew what was going on with the deposits. On August 20th, 2003, he was going to deposit roughly $4,500 or approximately $4,500, and that's when someone said, "Hey." The victim saw the person's reflection in the glass of the bank building. The person came up behind him, turned. When the victim turned around, the robber was pointing a revolver at him. The robber took the money and fled in a car with another person. He was unable to identify him because he was wearing sunglasses, coat, hood, mask. Then on August 20th, 2003, approximately 9:50 a.m., so it looks like they're going on a spree here. Pamela Taylor's employer at Miss Supermarket located near Whitney Bank saw a man wearing a ski mask and carrying a bag of money get into a champagne-colored Grand Am. Oh, no, this is just a witness, I see. Which then drove away quickly. Taylor followed the vehicle for a short while but lost sight. The police department testified that a trial, a gray Pontiac Grand Am was visible and surveillance videotape of the robbery. Donald Nicholas III also testified at trial. He was serving 15-year sentence for driving the vehicle used in the robbery. He indicated the defendant had been the gunman. So yeah, as we assumed, so Donald Nicholas testified against him. He was the driver. So maybe it was that what Mr. Roche was kind of alluding to. Maybe that was the case. They gave him a deal. He just pled. He already got the sentence way before the trial. They gave him 15 years and then had him testify through the book at his co-defendant. Still, I see it as corruption because they only offered him a 50-year deal. Ashley Nicole, who was the auto sales and rental. So they just rented the car at August 19th. The vehicle was supposed to be returned August 21st. The defendant, however, returned the vehicle approximately 11 a.m. at August 20th. It had broken glass on the driver's side. and the defendant paid for it in cash. Anyways, with that, I'll let you go.